What's up, guys? And girls. I'm sure there's some ladies that turn wrenches on cars out here too. Actually know a few. It's pretty dope. But yeah, I hadn't posted a video in a while. Hadn't really been working on cars much lately. Been real tied up with my full-time job during the day. And I'm in the process of buying a house and trying to move and a bunch of other shit. So yeah, just hadn't been a priority. But mom's car is a priority. And mom's car is acting up. So I'm going to make a video on what was going on with it. And we're going to do some troubleshooting, try a couple things that I've seen or read that are usually the problem with the code that's coming up. And we're going to do a couple other things, clean some intake runners out. I'm going to check the butterfly control, that's just a butterfly control motor for the lower runners on the intake. They have butterflies in them that, you know, open and close with the throttle. And apparently that's a really common problem, that the nut on that motor backs off and then the butterflies don't work, and then you get a p2009 code, which is what we have right now. I'm also going to be putting catalytic converters on it, because this one smells like rotten eggs when you stomp in it going down the highway. So we're going to do that too. I'm going to try to keep good camera angles on everything, but I'm using my phone because I don't know where my GoPro's at. So yeah, y'all bear with me. I'll try to be as good of a cameraman and a mechanic at the same time as possible. But yeah, we started out. I'm going to flip the camera over right quick. And started out, I took all the covers off the motor. Just plastic covers, the little snap out pins. Let's see, I think I got some. These little dudes, they just pop in, pop back out. If they're the originals in your car, they're probably gonna crack or break. If you're gonna do this or do anything where you have to remove the covers, I would suggest buying a kit to replace those, because they're really brittle, they break. It's just the way it is. So, like I said, we got a p2009 code, which calls, you can't really see it yet, I'll get into it, but it calls for, there's a motor. I'm going to check now. See, they open, see this little linkage here? See how easily it moves? That tells me that there's nothing connected to it. So we're going to take the top of the intake manifold off, get down into the lower runners, check the motor on the butterflies, clean the valves, clean the runners. Like I said, we're going to be putting caps on it too. We just recently put a filter in it. So we're just going to be doing I'm going to do some plugs while we're in here, because I don't know if y'all know or not, but if you've ever worked on one of these, that number 2 coil is sitting underneath that part of the intake runner, and you can't get it out. So while we got it out, we're going to go ahead and do the plugs on it too. It's got probably I think the car's got 180 on it. I'm hoping there's been plugs put in it before, but I've got all ideas they haven't. So yeah, like I said, I'll try to keep some good camera angles and explain as much as I can to you guys as I go. Right now I just got the mass airflow disconnected, because we're going to take this runner out, and I don't want to damage this harness or this clip by pulling that out. So I'm going to fold it back under the air box, just tuck it under. There's a little harness for the headlight here, probably the fan maybe. We're just going to tuck it under that. So we're going to remember to make sure we put that back on, because if we don't, we're going to be pissed and take 2 hours trying to figure out what it is. So yeah, I'm going to set the camera down. I'm going to start taking some stuff out. And here we go. This hose, I am fairly certain, is just a vacuum hose. But these two here are coolant hoses, and they're attached to the throttle body. And we're going to try not to unhook those if possible, because I really don't want to get into the cooling system in this thing if I can help it. So pull this one loose. fold it over to the side. It's on a T down here beside the dipstick. I tuck it behind the intake box. Little harness here. And hit that one. Throttle position sensor and hook it. There's a zip tie on the manifold here. I try to save these usually because they're pretty handy. And they keep all your wires from flopping. That's going to be annoying for y'all in the video. I'm going to try to fix the camera here in a minute somehow. Now that I'm in the motor, only broke half of it. That works. I got another one here. I'm just gonna pull that one off for now. She's on there. Get a little persuasion. Sometimes you gotta talk dirty to them. Pain in the ass sometimes. V41, I cuss, I bleed. I do this in my driveway, but I do this to make videos of it because I know that if you're anything like me, it may or may not be your only way of being able to do this. I don't have $1,300 to give a Lexus dealership to do this for me. That's broke down. Nice. Yeah, don't do that. May have to replace that clip. Have to pin that out. Might make a video on that too. Yay. That's not any of my intention with this. But it happens. That's kind of the way it goes. This one here, I'm guessing is probably a knock sensor maybe. Another VVTI sensor. VVTI, variable valve timing, for anybody that doesn't know. They changed. Why are you dancing so bad? Anyway, they change your valve timing with your motor for better power, better fuel economy, all that good stuff. I think Honda originated it, maybe. I may be wrong. If I am, drop it in the comments, let me know. I'd like to know who originated it. I know Toyota's version works really good. I had a 430, LS 430, and when that sensor went bad on that car, it made a massive difference in the way it ran. So obviously it's very important. That's a pain. I actually may not even have to take that one off. So I'm gonna rock out without it right now. Another one of these. Like I said, blur out the camera. Let me see how it looks. Yeah, it's not terrible. I'll get some close-ups too once we get more in depth once I get past the wiring harness. These little clips are a pain in the ass sometimes. There's probably an easier way to do this, short of destroying the clip. Oh, I got lucky, that one came out. Oh shit, nice. Alright, that harness is loose. That's your passenger side. Like I said, top side, probably intake cam VVTI. Some kind of vacuum control, probably something to do with the intake, power position sensor is on that one. Got a vacuum hose here, runs back to the throttle body. There. I can probably get away with leaving that there, but I'm going to pull it. One of the best tools I've ever found. Somebody left a clamp on a bleeder valve under a Jeep I worked on one time, and I've had these things for years. Little tiny vice grips. Anybody ever found tools in cars? If you have, leave them. Drop them in the comment. I want to know what's the weirdest tool you've ever found in a car. I found vice grips. I found a timing light under the hood of a car one time, and it had been there for a very long time because it was either that or it was really rusted before they put it under the hood because it was cruddy rusted. Found some pretty strange shit in cars. I also used to crush cars. Ah, there is that coolant hose that we didn't want to open. So, no. Let me open the little one, not the big one. I'll have to bleed that off later. A lot of people say you don't have to on Toyotas, but I do because I don't like to take the chance of hitting air bubbles in the system. It causes unnecessary wear and tear on things that shouldn't have it. Got another little harness PVTI intake can. Driver's side. These things are a pain in the ass. By the way, this is very candid. This is me. I've never done one of these before. I've worked on a lot of cars. I guess technically I'm an industrial mechanic by trade. Working air handling for pharmaceutical and food processing full time. That's what I do during the day. And then I'd come out here and tinker on things at night. I did work on cars for a really long time. Not that any of you care, but I have nothing else to do, so you get to hear my life story. And I'm out here talking to myself, so that's the thing. That VTI is off. I'm not real sure what these go to. Something goes under the intake. We'll get there. I'm sure that bracket may not have to come off. Got another one here. I don't know if y'all can see that. Let me check. Yeah, so there's a box right there. I'll try to take the camera off of it so y'all can see it better. Or the light, sorry. Is that better? Yeah, a little. So there's a box. Yeah, I'm trying to point in the camera. Right there, there's a little harness on that clear box that's mounted on the back of the intake. We're gonna pull it off. Like I said, I'll get y'all closer to the car shortly and kind of show y'all what was pulled and wasn't, so you know what you need and not need to take apart. By the way, I'm already bleeding, so that's okay. That one's loose. Got a vacuum hose on the back side over here. Pull it off. Runs over to the brake booster. You can probably tuck it under the cowl right there. So now I may actually pull it off. I don't know how hard this clip is to get off. Yeah. Cool part about doing all this on camera is I can go back and watch this too and make sure I didn't forget anything. So that's good. Alright. There's a fuel line here. I've read and heard in some other videos that European cars don't have this fuel. I'm guessing it's an emissions thing, maybe for cleaning the intake or maintaining fuel pressure. I'm gonna show y'all what I disconnected as far as the harness goes, vacuum lines, what I did, the coolant line that I disconnected that you probably shouldn't, and we'll go to what's next. So, vacuum hose runs from here to, let me find it, I know it's here somewhere. You got this one, comes over to the intake here, right here. We unhooked it, I tucked it back behind the intake, behind the box right here. I'm trying to do both. I got this big one here that I took out that loops back around to something nearby because it wasn't very far. It wasn't very long. Oh, it goes to the intake tube. So there's one that goes from here, loops back over to a fitting on the intake tube here. I left the air box in. You don't really need to take it out for what we're doing. I'm gonna leave the throttle body connected to those coolant lines and just fold it over out of the way. That's the plan anyway. We could disconnected this harness, speed sensor, VVTI on the top side of on the intake side, on the driver's side, VVTI, actually this is the driver's side, sorry, this is the passenger side. I'm not sure what these two are. I will try to figure that out and maybe leave it in the comments or in the description. We got this one on the back, that's that box I was talking about, that's on the back of the intake, if you can see. It's here. Disconnected it. I'm sure it's got some kind of a control gear or something. I don't know what it is. It's part of the intake though. It's like glued in. So I got a vacuum line here. I went from the booster right here back to the intake. Here's that fuel line that I was talking about. A lot of the European cars don't seem to have that. I guess that's an emissions thing in America. I don't really know. I'm getting ready to disconnect it. There's smash washers on these. I don't know if you can see them. I'll try to get in close. See that little bitty washer? That little gap between the hose fitting and that bolt? There we go. On both sides. Those are what they call smash washers. They're usually aluminum or brass. I think with fuel, they're usually brass. And what they do is it's a hard seal. It's basically a hard gasket. And when you put them in, they smash and they don't allow the fuel line to leak. Don't lose those. You're going to need those. If you do, go get them because you're going to have them, because if you don't, your fuel line's going to leak. So, I'm going to pull it next, and then we'll start taking, I'm going to start taking the top side of the intake off. Bolt here, there's a bolt there. We've got looks like there may be a seal leaking. I don't know if y'all can see that. That is the linkage to the piece that is supposedly bad. And if it's what I think it is, there's a motor on the other end of that runner back there on the back side of the motor that makes that move with the throttle. And apparently a lot of times the gear on that motor, the nut that holds that gear on backs off and the nut falls off. Apparently I've had some rodents in here at some time. I have to deal with that. I think that's a whole ass acorn right, or walnut shell right there. But yeah, but that's where the problem is. That's the p2009 code is in this system right here, and we're gonna see if we can't fix it without buying that motor, because they say you can't take that motor off and that you have to buy the whole lower intake to fix this problem. And I'm gonna try not to buy an intake. That would be really nice, because they're about 600 bucks, and that's the cheap end. So I don't necessarily suggest buying used parts of mechanicals that are anywhere near the motor, because especially when it's disinvolved, because then if it's 10,000 miles and it goes bad, you're doing all this again. So yeah, I'm gonna set you guys back over here on the ladder, because like I said, I don't have my GoPro and I'm filming off the ladder. And I'm gonna start pulling this intake off. I'm running out of daylight. I'm actually out of daylight. I don't know if y'all can tell, but it's I'm gonna cut the flash off. It's dark. Street lights on. I'm doing this in my driveway, so y'all know. This is the official YouTube mechanic video at its finest. YouTube mechanic certified. So yeah, I'm gonna like I said, I'm gonna pull that fuel line back there, and I'm gonna start taking the top side of the intake off, get the throttle body away from the intake, and we'll see if we can't get to the top side of this intake off tonight before I call it a night. Alright. The nut on that fuel line is a 12 millimeter. Sometimes you gotta be a little persuasive with them. Now be aware, there is fuel in this line. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. It's shiny on my finger. I would give the car time to cool off before you started any of this, because you don't want to cause any unnecessary fires. Nobody wants to burn down the Lexus, right? Although I have wanted to burn one down a few times, let's be honest. Remember I said save those flat washers or smash washers. They're going to be, that will come back to haunt you if you don't. I'm trying to remember which way they were on. I usually do. Some people say flip them. I usually, if I can, replace them, but in this sense, I'm not really going to go hunt down 2 smash washers for this. I'm just going to try to put them back in the same configuration they were in, and that way I don't have to worry about any inconsistencies when I put everything back together. But right now I can't find any other harnesses on the back side of this intake. There's a big loop. I'll show you guys later in the video that the main harness coming off the firewall, I believe. Yeah, coming off the firewall is just tied to it. It's just a little zip, like one of those little cheap zip tie clips. This one's already been broke, so I'm just gonna leave it hanging. The harness will come out of it. Yeah, we got one off the fuel line, whatever that sensor is. I've got one underneath that harness that I'll get to if I need to when I do the spark plugs. Now I will take things apart with impact. It's rare that I will put things back together with impact, especially aluminum motors. And usually when I take them apart, I'll still bump them a couple times to make sure that they're going to come loose pretty easily and they're not going to snap a bolt off in the motor. That's a pain in the ass. And I don't feel like fixing it. So, comes out. Put it together and then the trays. Stay with it. Let's do it. Vacuum line, see? Back side of the throttle body. Oh, this is those coolant lines, that's right. That is an issue. That is in my way. So I may have to pull those lines off. Let's see. Right here. Oh, okay, it snakes out of there. I don't know if y'all seen that. That line is tucked in behind the intake runner right here. And there's a coolant line. Try to explain this as much as possible as I go. Like I said, I want this to be as easy and informational as possible. But there's a coolant line that comes off the back side of the throttle body and goes back around the back side of the intake. But if you take the intake and twist it up like that and pull down on it, it'll slide past the plans on the intake. Wow, that is nasty. Some oil on that. I would guarantee there's some oil in this intake. But yeah, we got it back out of the way. I'm gonna keep pulling bolts out of the intake, and if you can't, go ahead and get it off. A few Allens. There's another. Looks like that's probably gonna be just holding the intake together. It's just a stud to the cover. Yeah, so we might actually have this thing off pretty quick. As long as there's not anything too crazy back here holding it on, I think we'll be alright. I got my Allens. Hey. Good luck. I know the lighting right now is shitty. It only gets better, right? It only gets better from here. And hopefully I had a real nice work light one time, and went on a job site to do a repair one time. Went up in a scissor lift, come back down, light was gone. So I just haven't replaced the shit. Maybe it's me being lazy, whatever. But yeah, I try to make sure that most of these videos in the daylight so y'all can see what I'm doing. Especially when I get into cleaning the runners. I'll definitely film that motor gear piece inside so you can see what's going on with it. Oh, I didn't show you on that little hose iron, but I hope I'm remembering to do that so you don't make the same mistake I did. See, we're all learning together. By the way, we live on a dirt road, so the dust and dirt is pretty bad on this motor. Wow, that's really tight. There we go. Probably should have hit those with a little breakaway or PD or something, but a little too late now. See what we got left here. I don't think it's much. Maybe these do have to come out. This is good. There we go. That's what it's like. Maybe these? They're not touching. Maybe they do. No, that doesn't look like the best times either. Good stuff. So, gaskets. Alright. Maybe it needs a little persuasion. I'm going to show you all my ass all night tonight. Wow, I have to say all this. So these motors are covered all over. I mean, I'm sure you're aware if you're working on one. But like I said, I live on a dirt road and I live in the woods. There's nothing around me for acres, like nothing. And so we have rodents, bugs, and things like that. And when I get situated, before I pull the lower intake off, I'm gonna stuff some rags in the lower runners and show y'all what's going on right here, and show you one of the downfalls of having a covered engine. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what's holding this intake on. It may just need to be persuaded, but we'll figure it all out together. Cool. PCV valve. Oh, okay. So, I'll show y'all this, because this is worth seeing. And I'll probably show y'all those intake valves too in a minute. I seen this in another video and forgot about it. I'm glad I checked. So there's a bolt, a bracket right there. That is on the back of the intake. It actually holds the intake to the top of the motor. It's probably just supporting this side, so all the weight's not on that side. So that needs to come out. Also, this is that hose. I should have known, being that it's right behind the radiator cap, that it wasn't a vacuum hose, but I was kind of hastily taking things off. Don't take that off. It's full of antifreeze. It'll be everywhere. And you'll smell antifreeze, which is what I'm doing right now. Also, I was talking about the dirt road and the rodents. I don't know if you can see that. Acorns. And you see all that dust? All that silver. All this. That's all grime from a dirt road. That's all sitting on the top of the intake. Or actually the heads, I guess. Oh yeah. Busted my knuckle earlier. But yeah, it's that's one of the downfalls of having a motor that you can't see because you don't really know. And I would suggest taking the covers off every now and then. And people are gonna flip shit on me for this, but taking maybe pressure washer and like taking a low pressure nozzle to put on it and blow the stuff out of it, or take a vacuum cleaner and suck it out, or whatever you need to do. But clean your motor every now and then, because that stuff right there isn't good for it. Focus. There we go. Alright, so yeah, I'm gonna take that bracket off over here. I might see if I can't get a camera angle here to stay so y'all can see this. Maybe it'll cooperate. Probably not. Maybe. Oh shit. It'll probably fall. It's cool though. That bolt looks like it's probably, if I can see that, looks like it might be a 12. I'm pretty sure it's not a 10. Can't really tell. Definitely not a 10, probably a 12. This may be a little loud. I apologize ahead of time. My hood seal just popped back in place from where it was in the body shop. Alright, like I said, bump it. It broke loose pretty easily, so that's a good thing. We got it out. Pretty decent sizable bolt. Focus. Sometimes you gotta give it some love. There we go. That's the bolt that come out of the back side of that bracket. And again, that bracket is right here under this harness. This main harness. That's it right there. And there's that harness clip I was talking about earlier that was broke. Put that right there. Stay. Alright. We should be fairly close to free. I think the biggest thing now is going to be trying to get that. We got movements. Don't smoke, kids. Say no to drugs. Something in the back holding still. There's something. Vacuum hose connected. I feel like that's on the lower. There's no one. Okay. May have one back here. Oh, great. Okay. seems to be connected to the intake. Seems to be. Okay, that's lovely. Let's show y'all that one. That's fun. That's fun times there. Move y'all over here for a second. I'm gonna show y'all this. So there's a bolt. Try to get y'all in here so you can see it. Hard to get this big ass brick. Oh, there it is. So, see that silver bolt head right? Yeah, right there. Got a stylus too. Multifunctional magnet. That bolt right, not that one, right there. Pretty sure that's holding that piece. Yep, it's a tab right behind that PCV valve. It runs from that bolt. I don't know if y'all can see that. It runs from that bolt back into the bottom side of the intake right there. So we got to pull that one out too. Looks like a 12 millimeter. I'll verify that momentarily. All right. Well, this is gonna be fun. That sucks. I wonder how many of these have been left out in the past. Well, that's it. Oh, what is that? So when you get in here to do this, there's a harness basically right behind that bolt head. I'm going to try to pull it loose and maybe free up that harness a little bit, make it a little easier to get to that bolt. Alright, so
introduce your helpers.
Oh, this is Shithead, aka Short Bus. It's kind of shaped like a short bus. My mom. This is her car. We've had this discussion earlier. And this is the bolt that I fought earlier in the video, or last night. It wouldn't come out. That little bitty bolt. But let me show you where it's at. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe. Let's see if we can get it to focus. Yeah, see that bracket right where you at? There. Little black gear right there. I can get it in there a little better. Yeah, there it is. Come on, focus. I guess it is focused. Yeah, right there. There's a bolt hole. There's a bolt that goes in there. You can look back in the video and see where it was at. But it's a pain in the ass to get it out. I ended up using this. Gives you a little rotation on the ratchet so you can get a better angle on it. Worked out pretty good. Mom came through with those today. Shout out to her. So yeah, now hopefully she'll come off. I'm gonna set up something right quick on my phone. Give me just a second.
Where's your GoPro at?
In the house. Dead. And where are we at? So Mom got me this cool new headlight. I wanted to show y'all this before I go inside and start on this lower. Hopefully I can get my headlight in there good enough where you can see. Maybe I can get this to focus. Come on, you can do it. Those valves are open. I don't think y'all can see that. Yeah, you can turn it. Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool. A cool little headlight. So I don't know if y'all can see that. I'm gonna try to get some light down in there. So we can't do it like this. And y'all see how that build up on the sidewalls and down on the valve. And see how that mist you see is seafoam where I sprayed it. But yeah, we're gonna try to get all that out. That one's probably, I think this one's probably one of the worst ones. But yeah, we're gonna try to soak all that and get it out. I got some cut this off. This stuff. Seafoam top engine cleaner and lube. Helps remove harmful deposits from critical engine areas. Works on all types of 2- and 4-stroke gasoline engines. So we put this here and there and like that. And hopefully it'll soak all the carbon out of there. And we also got some fresh cats, so I may, before I do the cats, I may actually fire this thing up and try to blow all that carbon out into the old cats, so we don't put all that shit in the new ones that makes it past the valves. So yeah, here shortly I'll show you all the manifold and what I'm hoping is the problem, so we'll see. Alright, the rain's holding off for now, so we're gonna do all the smelly chemical stuff outside. So I don't know, I'm gonna let y'all see this. This is the backside of those butterflies. This is what, this motor right here is what they say the gear comes off of. We're gonna check it here in a minute. But, so this is after I sprayed it with some seafoam and just scrubbed it with this little stainless brush. Harbor Freight deal, probably like $4 maybe. Clean that one off a little bit. But that's what it looks like before you clean them off. That's really bad. I mean, that's just nasty. You can see all that. There's a screw in there somewhere. So we're gonna try to get all that out. I'm not real sure what the top side looks like. I haven't checked yet. Top side's not as bad. Got the flashback on. That'll help. Yeah, top side's not as bad, but it's definitely got some buildup on it. So I'm gonna get all I can off of that. Get it really clean. Take some wire brushes to it. Clean it up really good. And before we put everything back together, just so we know that everything's as clean as possible, because I don't want to put any foreign objects down in that down in any of the cylinders and take a chance on damaging anything. So yeah, I'm getting a little drizzle now. I said the rain's gonna hold off, and now it's gonna rain on me. So I'm gonna try to get all this cleaned up right quick, and then I will, once I get inside and tear this motor down, I'll show you what's going on. All right, so we got the intake here, the lower, as they call it. This is that part I was talking about. I'm gonna pull it off. Supposedly there's a gear. It runs this shaft, and that's what I can hear something rattling. That may be right. But yeah, see how these won't close all the way? They're supposed to. They open fine, but they won't close all the way. So we're about to find out what the deal is. You got 2 screws here, one on top, one on the bottom, and we're gonna take them out and see what we got. might need a bigger screwdriver for this. I know that I have one, so we'll see if we can't make this work. Put a little ass into it. Damn, that's in there. Alright. Yeah, those are really tight. Give me a minute. Alright. So, I think the fan's bouncing the camera. Maybe it's me. I don't know. As y'all can tell, it started raining on me. So, let's see if I can put this down here. Let's see a little better. I don't know if y'all have ever seen the little like handheld impacts that they sell at Harbor Freight for like doing brake jobs. They come with these handy, big fat, like Phillips head type bits, which fit perfectly in an 8mm socket. So that works out. So hopefully it'll be enough to get these to break loose. I think we'll be all right. Yeah, there we go. There it went. These things are sweet, by the way. The little silver ratchets. It's pretty gangster. There's the top one. This is a little icy. Let's see what's going on. I got some Loctite 243, the red. It's probably backwards because I'm using my front-facing camera because it gets a better camera angle where I'm sitting. Because, like I said last night, or earlier in the video, I guess would be for y'all, I am using my phone because I'm not sure what my GoPro's at. I didn't want to tell Mom that earlier in the video because she bought it. Alright, so cross your fingers because let's hope this is the problem. This will be a lifesaver. Definitely be a money saver. And that's exactly what it is. No, I haven't touched anything, y'all can see that. And that just fell off. So, and as soon as I let that up, the gate's closed. Hopefully that gear's not too chewed up. Seems to be alright. There's still a little bit of grease on it. I don't know if you're going to see that little dab of grease there. It's still, it's hard to tell. Still a little grease in it, not much. We'll put a little more in there. I'm going to try to save that gasket, that little gasket there. I'm just going to save it. I'm guessing it's probably just more air than anything. So I don't think we'll be alright. I don't see any oil being in here. It is, it probably shouldn't be, and this gasket probably is just your problem. And it goes there. Around that. So put it back.
Is it loose or off?
Yep.
Huh?
Yep. So I'm going to show y'all this. That's a... try to focus in on that if I can. It's hard to do from the front side. But yeah, see that little oblong hole? This shaft is machined on the end. Try to get as much of this in frame as possible. It's hard to tell. I can see that. Yeah, okay, there we go. Okay, I can see that. See, it's got those two flat spots on it, there and there. Those are so that when you put that on, it lines up where it's supposed to. And I would probably suggest remembering which way it came off, so that you know to put it back in the right spot. But I would also think that more than likely, there's only going to be one way for it to go in, so that it meshes with that gear.
That's where you needed that grease.
It's right there. So,
Did you find a little package?
Did you get one?
Yeah.
It's probably out there in that bag. We're gonna put a little lithium grease on there, just to try to extend the life as much as possible. For the most part, the gear looks good. I have a really good idea that this is probably going to solve the problem, and we're gonna. Oh, y'all be able to see that good. See, this nut goes back on here. And before I put that nut back on, actually I'm going to check and make sure those threads aren't tore up, because it felt a little burred up. It looks like way it didn't want to go on. She's alright. Yeah, we're good. Just clean up the threads a little and run it down, just to be safe. Before we go trying to force things together that don't go together and all that good stuff. This goes like this. Alright, and I'll try to show y'all this so y'all can see the orientation of this gear. And I'm going to put this top side up, which is the gear's facing down, the motor goes on like that. So if you turn this facing the camera, this gear, which is this like barrel here, is where that gear's at, should be facing the center of the intake. So we're going to put this back on. I'm going to put some blue Loctite. On these threads. And yeah, I know some of y'all are like, I know what I'm doing, I've done this before, but there's a lot of people out there that don't, and I'm trying to make sure that dealerships don't rape them. So you Lexus guys that only get to do warranty work, this is probably one less job you'll get to take care of now. Sorry. Loctite is on. I'm going to start that back on there. Looks like it's probably a 10. It is. And I don't know if it tightens the gear up completely. Yeah, it does. Okay. So I'm not gonna like super torque that thing, and I'm sure that nobody gives specs for it because supposedly they don't sell this part. You have to buy the whole manifold as a whole.
I see that part of it.
And yeah, can you see? I don't know. Well, y'all remember earlier, those butterflies weren't closing all the way. Now they close just fine. All 6 of them. Yay. Mom's super happy. We saved her a bunch of money. Save a bunch of money by getting a son that does mechanic work. Everything works like it should.
That will take the time from his job and help his mama out.
Yeah. I don't mind.
This one, see.
There's that gear.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was loose.
Yeah.
It's on there now.
And that screw was off.
And the nut was off, yeah. So we'll just snug it just to make sure. I'll put this back on. Like I said, the gear.
Grease.
Oh, yeah. Grease. Use that. Or something to the likes of. This is anti-seize. Also known as Tin Man Jizz. So, a little shop joke for anybody that doesn't know that. If this is anything like the shit we have at the shop. Yep. I'll show you why they call it Tin Man Jizz. See that? When you smear that on anything, 10 minutes later it's on everything. And it looks like you jacked off a Tin Man. Anti-seize probably isn't ideal for what we're doing here, but it'll work. Better than what's in there now, which is very little to nothing.
What you asked, that's what he had.
He gave you anti-seize, not grease, but it'll work. Another thing, if you go to a parts store, double check behind those guys. I hate, as much as I hate to say it, 90% of them have no fucking clue what they're talking about. So, gears there, gears here. I'm trying to turn this so y'all can see it. Make this as informational as possible. See, the top of this gear's here. You're looking at like, because if you're looking at the back of it, it'd be like 3 o'clock. Easy now.
Just gonna try to turn it a little bit.
There you go. And then that one is there, so when you put them together, they should mesh. Alright, now I'm not thread locking those in case I ever have to do this again, because they were a pain in the ass to get out. Steel screws and aluminum will usually seize themselves to a degree. A lot of people say use anti-seize. I will too on most things. Stuff like this, where it's a plastic part and it's not like dire to the motor in the sense of it's not going to fall in the motor if it comes out, then I won't use it, because it's it can easily be removed and heated with a little heat or some PB or broken loose or whatever. Back to the 8mm. So I'm going to do this with the handle just so I don't over tighten it. A little tool I got today, thanks to Mom. That's another thing. You work on your mom's car, you get free tools. Well, I do. Hopefully you do too.
Especially if you're saving her a couple $1,000s.
$1,000, but close enough. We're definitely not putting an intake on this car. So yeah, about $1,500 to do. And in real time, I'll shorten this video a little bit, and I'm gonna talk here for a minute because it's raining and I can't really go back out there and put it back together tonight. But at the end of the day, I will probably have, altogether, I may have 2.5 to 3 hours in this job. 2.5 3 hours in a shop. That's probably a job they're going to charge you. Dealership's going to charge you somewhere between $75 and $125 an hour, depending on where you're at and what what part of the world or whatever. We're talking about U.S. dollars. I'm in America, so I think the Lexus dealership, the local dealership, I'm gonna leave them out of it because I'm not trying to discriminate against them. But I think they were going to price it at like $125 an hour, and then the part was like right at $700, and they quoted it at something around $1,300. Technician would have loved this job, especially if he's been around for a while, because he could have knocked it out in probably an hour or two, and he probably would have been getting paid for $1,300. He's probably getting paid for like a 6-hour job, I give or take. I don't know the exact numbers. Somebody will feel free to put that in the comments or whatever. It'll probably take me 3 hours to do this job. I literally have spent a gasket kit for $25. We're gonna put the plugs in while we're there. That's another like $75 because they're like $20 a piece. 6 of them. Seafoam, gasket kit, the seafoam, the spark plugs, the Loctite I already had, so I didn't spend any money on that. The little tools that I needed that I would have ended up buying eventually somewhere anyway, so I don't really count that either. For this job, you're probably going to be somewhere around $250 if you go all out with cleaning the intake, changing the gaskets, the seafoam, the plugs. I mean, you probably, honestly, if you do it right, you can get out cheaper than that. I got some we bought some brake clean. I bought some anti-seize, some grease, whatever. Just little things that you'll need for the job. But even let's round it up. Let's say $250. If we're $250 in the job, and they quoted it at $13, that's without any complications. Which they probably wouldn't have had any with that car. It's pretty solid. $1,000 you're saving, $1,100 you're saving on the big end of things. And we're gonna put it back together and clean everything out, get everything really good and clean. Hopefully we'll get some better gas mileage out of the car because it's been running like shit since the code come on. And we're going to put, after we clean everything out and blow the motor out with some seafoam really good, then we'll put the new converters on it, and hopefully it'll run like it's supposed to. Solid car. I love Lexus. In my opinion, they make the best car on the road. I've been working on cars for a long time, and I very rarely work on Lexus. And if I do, it's because somebody has very poorly maintained it. The one I own, the 430, I think there's a video of my exhaust on it on my channel that I built. My sister drove it for like, what, Mom, 8 years, 9 years? Literally done anything, nothing but put brakes on it once and tires on it twice and changed the oil in it about every 2 years. Granted, she didn't drive it like 30 miles to work every day, back and forth. I mean, round trip, 30 miles maybe. But still, she didn't do shit to maintain it. And I spent a bunch of money on getting it back to normal. And it was a really good car. I wish I'd never sold it, but I'll get another one day. Anyway, I'm going to end this portion here. I'll try to put some kind of a break in the video. I don't know. I'm still learning how to do this. So if anybody wants to help me with editing my videos, feel free to chime in, and I will gladly take any help you'll give me. But yeah, once I get ready to clean, once I get everything cleaned up, I'll show you how I go about doing all that. I may go back out there. It's not really raining bad, so I may go back out there and work on that some tonight. And try to possibly try to get this thing put back together tonight, depending on what the weather does. But yeah, if we do decide to do that, I will definitely bring you guys along. So you have a good night, and I will see you on the other side of this. Alright, ladies and gents, we have cleaned all the other runners. I soaked this one. This is the last one. I've done all the other 5. Probably. But yeah, I cleaned up all the rest of them. I wanted to save this last one so I could show y'all. I had to spin the motor over so I could close the valves. I'll get my light. Alright. Now, let me show y'all kind of what I'm dealing with. I may have put this in earlier in the video, but I'm not sure, so I'm going to try to get y'all some views of what's going on over here. So this is the runner down into the head. I can't really see down there. I'm trying to get some light. Hold on, let me try this. Yeah, y'all see how that carbon built up in there? I wish I could get better focused on the valve itself, but can't really seem to get it to focus. But what we're gonna do is take, since you got there, well, there it is. Alright. Bought this little brush kit, Harbor Freight. They have them on Amazon too. Probably a little nicer set on Amazon, but whatever. It'll do what I need to do. We're just gonna seems to be working pretty good. Definitely better than what we started with. I put the seafoam down in there last night on the other ones, and then came back and cleaned them this morning. And now I'm cleaning this last runner. It's been sitting for about an hour now. I'm just swirling trying to spin the buildup off the walls, and then I'll take a rag and wipe down what I can, and then we'll stuff an airline down in there and blow the rest of it out. And then we'll start putting this intake back on. Oh yeah, that's gross. Nice. Alright guys, so got it started. It didn't want to start at first. I think that's probably because I didn't unhook the computer and it was trying to relearn all the sensors that I had unplugged. But as of now, I've cleared the codes. Nothing's came back yet. It's still running a little rough. That could be because it's burning all that seat foam off the valves. I got most of it out, but not all of it. It'll burn it off. I'm not really too worried about blowing that stuff into the cats because I'm getting ready to replace them. So she's starting to clear up now though. I'll turn you around and let y'all check out the dash. Still idling a little high. Still got a little skip to her every now and then. Fresh plugs, same coils, fresh PCV valve. I forgot to put that in the video. I almost put it all back together before I realized I had changed it. But yeah. See how she acts. Jumps back down to fairly normal. Like I said, it'll take a few minutes for her to relearn all the circuits after I've unplugged everything because I didn't unhook the battery. That was my fault. I suggest you do that. It'll probably save you some headache. But yeah, we're gonna sit here and let it run for a few minutes, see if it clears up. If it doesn't, then I'll start checking to make sure I got all my coils and stuff connected and go from there. But as of now, we have no engine light, and before, when we cleared the code, as soon as you start the car, it would come back on. So I'm guessing the 209 code is gone, hopefully. I will keep you guys posted, and like I said, I'm gonna sit here and let it idle for a minute. If anything drastic changes, I will address that. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the repair on the secondary butterflies on the lower intake plenum, I don't know, whatever the hell they call it, that little gear that I fixed solved that problem. Put like 6.5, 7 miles on the car, haven't had any engine lights on. When I first initially started, I told you it was running kind of rough. I found out that I had a vacuum leak. I forgot to hook up the PCV valve on the back of the intake, which I suggest you do before you put the intake back in, because that was a pain in the ass to do with it in. Right now, this is what it looks like. This is my front-facing camera, so everything's backwards. The only thing left to do now is clean up the engine bay. I'm gonna wash everything down, get everything cleaned up, because it obviously hadn't been done in a long time. And we're gonna detail the engine covers before we put them all back in. Just some little stuff that needed to be done, that hadn't been done in a while. Preventative stuff. So, yeah.